The moment you've all been waiting for, the July 2026 market stats out of the Ottawa Real Estate Board. Here we go. 1,325 sales. That's on an inventory level of 4,678 units. When we look at what that represents, we've got about 3.5 months of standing inventory, and we have an average price in Ottawa of 683,308 in the month of July. Now, what's interesting in that chart really avails itself as we look at the 6-month comparison. And what you'll notice very quickly is that we have got quite a reduction in average sale price. Now, I have a few explanations. They don't explain away the entire price reduction, but to some extent, this is probably a function of what inventory sold in the last couple of months that caused the prices to be in the the low sevens. So what we find is that in the spring market, the family homes, the luxury homes tend to really find buyers. And that just follows the school year, essentially. We have early spring sales of kind of some of the larger and more luxurious homes, followed by summer moves, followed by, kids in school in September. So that probably explains away some of this reduction in average sale price. The other thing that explains some of this is the HST rebates that have come into effect. Now, what's happening there is that in certain neighborhoods where, you've got the possibility of buying a new home that is now cheaper than it was by as much as 13% in some cases, that might be appealing to some portion of the buying public. And so what ends up happening is that creates a bit of an anchor to what the resale home can get. Now, it's not a complete 13% reduction, of course, not even close. Why? Well, in many cases, you don't have competing new inventory in your particular neighborhood. Next, part of the reduction just would require that the buyers of resale could buy new, and in many cases they can't, and they can't because in many cases buying a new home requires a year or longer of a window before you can actually move in, and the resale market works in a 30 to 120 day window in most cases. So it's just not the same buyer, but it's still, some people would be able to wait and would wait when there's that kind of savings to be had. So there it is, a good little reduction in price. When we look at the inventory levels, of course, they're shrinking relative to a month ago, but so is the sales volume. You can see that 1,325 homes, lower than June. And, one would expect this. This is just seasonal changes. The price is really the standout feature on that particular slide. When we look at those prices again, kind of year over year, what we see is average sale price is down about 1.7%. Sales volume is relatively flat from a year ago, but inventory is up, right? So that's part of this whole story as well. Why would prices be down? Well, more options, more inventory, more months of standing inventory essentially is going to have a precipitous downwards pressure on price. So 4,200 homes to buy last year, 4,678 this year. More options, 11.2% increase. So you can see what that has done in terms of prices. When we look at a breakdown of how the individual markets are doing, single-family homes down 3.3% on average sale price from a year ago with 3.2 months of standing inventory. Townhomes also down 3.2% with 3 months of inventory. And then the condos are pretty flat, but keep in mind the prices have been quite depressed on those for some time now. 5.4 months of staying inventory, average sale price $430,000. So there is Ottawa in the month of July. It's kind of a tepid market. We're chucking along, doing okay. But I have to tell you, the micro markets just tell such a different story. I mean, I'm literally, as I'm shooting this, dealing with 33 showings and 11 offers on a property we listed 72 hours ago. So, the averages from the Ottawa Real Estate Board are noteworthy and interesting, but the real story is much more nuanced than that. And, to really garner an understanding of what's happening to your particular home and your particular neighborhood, it's best to reach out to your favorite real estate professional and have a chat, because the micro markets really tell a different story. Happy to kind of fill you in on that and bring you the math. But there it is. That's July, a balanced month with Predictions for August being much the same. Generally, we're going to sell fewer and fewer homes as we move throughout the rest of the year. That's just seasonal changes. And curious to see where prices go, but time will tell. We'll be back early September and fill you in on what August availed. Bye for now.